Guys, got an import today. Got my import that I ordered in December. I knew it wouldn't ship until this month, but I didn't expect to get it this early. As I kind of unbox this, I'm just gonna talk through the process of importing, what to expect, requirements, recommendations, all that stuff. Have not even cut open this box yet, so here we go. Every time I import a plant, I get so sweaty when I have to open it. There's a misconception, I think, that importing is awesome because it's cheap. Well, if that were the case, wouldn't we all be importing? There are a few huge trade-offs. One trade-off is usually if there is like a major problem with your plant or plants, you're going to have to work a little harder to get a replacement or a refund than you would if you ordered from a seller in the US. When you order from a plant store or plant shop or Etsy, the guarantees and refund policies and all that, they're very clear. When you import from overseas, a lot of times you have to ask, first of all, you have to ask, what is your refund policy? What is your replacement policy? And your answer may be something very vague, and that may be all they're willing to say. If you're really excited when you order and you say, by the way, what's your refund policy? Just to make sure. And they go, send us a message within 24 hours of receiving your plant. Okay. What does that mean? That doesn't really mean anything, right? But if you're really excited and inexperienced and you're deciding to import for the first time and you hear that, you may interpret that as, oh, okay, all I have to do is send them a message if there's something wrong and they'll take care of it. No, it doesn't work like that. So be sure that you understand the risks that you're taking as far as like, what are you going to do? How are you going to feel? And what will be your plan if you receive a plant that is just donezo, deadzo, gone, no chance. All right, moment of truth. A lot of times when you receive a plant from another country and they dip it in an insecticide, I think it's an herbicide insecticide, or it might be two different processes, I'm not sure. Your paperwork will show what it's been dipped in. A lot of times they'll dip the entire plant, and when that happens, they throw it back in the box and just throw whatever back on it, close it up, ship it to you. Then your whole plant is wet in the box. That's not fantastic. So a lot of times you'll get a plant that's only been dipped up to the root collar, and they didn't dip the leaves in any liquid or anything. Sometimes, like I said, you'll get one that's just totally stopping wet, and it just arrives like absolute mush. Usually if that's happened to your plants, you will smell it as soon as you open the box. So far, my box is open and I don't smell anything. All right, number one, this is philodendron fibrosum. Ooh, this is a good one. I usually don't like the plastic bag on the leaves is usually not a good idea. But for whatever reason, maybe because of the cold weather, it's been working out really nice lately. And this one does have sphagnum on the roots. An awesome little furry stem. Love it. Ignore my ratchet nails. The other thing you should know about importing is that you should never, ever, 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 ever pay with anything other than PayPal. PayPal has a guarantee. They have a money-back guarantee, and it's good for 180 days. So that's 6 months. That you can give the seller a chance to fix the issue, and if they don't do that, then you communicate with PayPal, send them everything that you've documented. So like any conversation with the seller where they refuse to refund, anything that they've said to you in a chat that's like, this is my policy, save all of that, screenshot all of that. Look at the subpanada, baby, she huge. Gorgeous aerial roots. Okay, so this guy is just a little squishy wishy. That's probably from being up against the plastic. Soderoy. Philodendron soderoy. Let's have a look at this guy. Oh man, that's nice. I think it's because the soderoy I had before was pretty small and it just looked too much like brandianum to me. It just wasn't mature enough, I think, to appreciate it. This one, however, yeah, I'll take it. This is probably so far my most successful import yet, because I will say Typically when I import plants, I have about 20 to 30% of them that end up as stumps that I have to reroot. And most of the time they, at the very least, lose 1 to 2 leaves. It's important to manage your expectations. Something may arrive to you in beautiful condition like this, and over the next couple of days as it acclimates, that's when you really get to see whether or not it's going to be successful for you. So right out of the box isn't always the best indication of you know, how well your import is gonna go. Here's my Mame. This one's got a little bit of yellowing, that's okay. Here's Mame. Okay, it does look a lot like Soderoy. One big difference is the stems. Check that petiole out. All right, next up we have, okay, I don't know how to pronounce this. Panduriforme, but it's a philodendron. Here she is. And they do develop a really cool shape as they mature. All right, next up we have, I forgot I ordered this. No way. I forgot I ordered this. And I forgot I ordered this. This should be an Anthurium forgetii, which I've been wanting forever. I haven't unwrapped any of the roots yet. I always wait until the end to unwrap roots. I'm usually really the most scared about that part. Usually, very few of them are fine. Varicosum, which I also forgot that I ordered. This is a good one. We have just a little bit of leaf damage right here. I'm guessing because of the way, yeah, definitely. If you look at the back, it's the way it was packaged, right? These pieces were pressed up against each other, and so yeah, it caused just a little bit of damage to the roots, or the leaves. This leaf will probably still make it, at least for long enough to produce some energy for my plant. I'm just checking for pests too. Invest in a magnifying glass. If you have plants, if you have more than like 10 or 12 plants, you need a magnifying glass. The cataphyll that was, there was a cataphyll wrapped around this new leaf that's emerging, and I did take that off because it was mushy and I don't want it to turn my leaf all mushy. Another fibrosum. This one looks bigger. Let's see. Oh, I have an Anthurium pendens in here. The fibrosum maybe doesn't ship as well. This one yellowed. It seemed to have yellowed pretty easily too. So again, this leaf is going to be gone in a couple of days, and so all it's really doing right now is sucking energy out of my plant that could be going toward new growth. So just popped it off. I've gotten a few of these and they've never worked out for me, so yeah, really happy to have that. This is philodendron ornatum. It is already vining. The petioles are weird. Oh, that's weird. Look how winged the petiole is, like all the way up to the leaf. That's cool. So this guy does have like this little yellow spot. When you get these yellow or these brown spots with the yellow halo, that's a pretty good indicator that it's bacterial or fungal on this leaf, and I don't want that. So what I'm gonna do real quick, I am just going to cut that part of the leaf off. I know, you're gonna cry, don't cry. But I am just gonna cut off that part with the whatever this is, because sometimes, you know, some fungal issues can really spread and they can spread really fast. So not only am I going to cut that specific little circle off, but it's also really smart to look at the back. I'm so smart. It's a good idea to look at the back of the leaf. You'll be able to see if there's any yellow left of that halo, and right where my pinky is, there is some. So I'm gonna cut off a little more, because any that's there at all, it's kind of like root rot. You wanna cut above the rot because there's probably some of that bacteria still hanging out right above the root rot. So you wanna be, you know, be a little generous with how much you're cutting off, because you'll benefit from it in the long run. This is so cool. One of the coolest things about Anthurium is the way they feel. A lot of Anthurium are very leathery, and I think that is so cool. Once it fills out a little bit and perks up a little bit in a hanging basket or even mounted, oh my God. I don't think I have water enough to mount this confidently. I love it so much. looks so underwhelming on camera. So what do you do with your plants once you unbox them? Most of what I'm going to recommend today is just dealing with plants that have been shipped. But some of what we're going to come across, I already know, because it's always the case, situations that we have to deal with. Let's start unwrapping these roots. What I like to do is not just start ripping at the sphagnum. I'll just kind of barely touch it, and whatever falls off, falls off. This is a very sad root system. That's unfortunate. So here's one of those situations where people ask, is it worth it to import? It depends. It depends on what you like about collecting, and it depends on what you like about plant care and plant maintenance. I'm just ripping off a dead-ish aerial root. I don't mind the rehabbing process with philodendron. They will bounce back and it won't take like a year. But I have had some plants take 6-7 months before they're like presentable, and that sucks. And a lot of times if you don't know the species already, you don't know whether you're getting one that's going to take you a year to rehab or a month to rehab. So here's what I like to do. Anytime I receive plant mail that has these stringy roots, right here I can tell that the root sheath, so your roots, this white part is a root, and all the roots have a root sheath, which is this part above the stringy part, okay? And you can tell that the root sheath has rotted off this root, which means it's not a healthy root. So I start from where it becomes stringy, cut off that stringy part because it's dead. The root doesn't function without a sheath. So we're gonna cut off all these little strings, and it's misleading because it looks like, well, that's a white, isn't that a white root? No, it's not. It's a remnant of a healthy root, but it's not alive. We're gonna cut it off. When I import plants and I only get a quantity of one of a species, I'll look at the root system, if there were one on this plant, but I'll look at the stem that it was propagating from, and if there's a chance I can take a couple of nodes from that as like an insurance policy, I will do that. Some folks don't feel confident about that because they think they're giving their plant less of a chance of rerooting. But I think the less biological material that you have to work with per plant makes it easier to root, because more surface area means more possibility for rot. So anything I can get rid of, I'm gonna get rid of. Once I've cleaned up the roots, including the aerial roots, gotten rid of any root matter that I don't want to hang around, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of zoom out and have a look. Oh, okay, hang on. Okay, a couple things are making me nervous. This is making me nervous. You see the splotchy? I don't like the splotchy. I've never, as far as I'm aware, had a plant with like mosaic virus or anything like that, but it makes me nervous. So I will quarantine this plant. It could just be yellowing around the edges from shipping, but I don't know. I'm gonna research that just to be certain that I'm not introducing something horrendous to my collection. I'm looking for how much of this plant is above ground, right? So if I were to plant this, or it was in the ground, it would be planted about up to here, okay? So that's a pretty big ratio of the out of ground growth of this plant. Do I have the root system to support that? No, not at all. I have a stem and one tiny little half dead root, okay? So what I'm gonna do in this case, because I have the matter up here, I have enough here to do this, I am going to separate this guy into a couple of plants. If I put this in water or leca or whatever, however I decide to rehab it, chances are most of these leaves are not going to survive because they're not going to be able to get the water that they need without the root system to support them. I'm pretty confident in this leaf. I don't think I'm going to lose this leaf. So I'm going to cut right above it because I know that this leaf is here to photosynthesize for the plant. So if I cut it right here, Okay, I'm gonna cut right here above the leaf. What should happen is this plant now has much more of a chance of survival because it's going to divert energy from trying to support all of these leaves to, I'm just gonna chill out and fix my roots, okay? And this leaf is gonna give me the energy to do that. As I am cutting them up, cleaning them up, I'll have just some plastic cups. I get these on Amazon. I reuse them as long as I'm putting healthy plants in them, or I'll just run them through the top rack of the dishwasher. That works too. So I'm just gonna stick this guy in here, and there's one ready to be rehabbed. I'm gonna cut this one more time. This is a small enough plant that I feel confident it'll be able to produce the energy from these leaves enough to give me some nice new roots right here. Now I could cut it here too, but I'm running a risk at that point because I like to propagate in water. If I cut right here and I put this in water, what's gonna happen, in order to submerge the node where the roots would come out, I would be submerging this stem as well. And the stem on this plant is very, it forms this little like enclosure, which means water is gonna get trapped in there. And that is just like asking for rot. I don't wanna go there. So when I propagate this, I may actually remove this leaf so that this can be submerged in the water and I don't have to worry about this leaf rotting, just because I'm really, really excited about it. Let's look at the anthurium pendens. So a lot of this sphagnum just falls off on its own. The rest, I'm just barely touching it. Whoop, barely touching it, barely touching it. Okay, this looks really, really good. Okay, so a couple of things. Not a big root system, that's for sure, but I'm not mad about it. So I washed my scissors as well, and I dunked them in my isopropyl alcohol, just in case. I don't want to transfer anything to my brand new beautiful plant. This one is the Burgettii. Roots are amazing. So for some reason I can't quite figure out, this clip did not record audio, but lucky you don't have to hear me repeat myself for 30 minutes just to show you that what I'm doing is, those wee containers make really, really good propagation jars. I'm just showing you in this clip that I generally put all of my rehabs in water, at least for the first day or two, for them to rehydrate while they're acclimating. And I keep them in this little display case that I literally got off the side of the road. But the point is that it keeps the humidity in, so high humidity for rehabs, and I keep the ones that need to produce new roots, I keep them on a heat mat. Importing. If you can't tell by the difference in the lighting now versus when I started this video, it has been several hours of fiddling around with plants to get everything kind of in a good spot so that it can acclimate and be healthy and happy. Please don't think you can import a plant and then a week later sell it. Not only do you not know how that plant is going to arrive to you or what it's going to need, but even if you do like anticipate what it will need, you kind of never know how long it's going to take. So your investment needs to be flexible as far as when you earn that investment back and make potential profit. So that is from like a seller's standpoint. The other thing you need to know is just to be careful. There is nothing wrong with ordering anything from any other country, but when you try to break the rules to save money on like a phytosanitary certificate or whatever it might be, you're taking the risk of losing the entire order, and that will really ruin the experience for you. So if you want to import, my advice would be always buy the phytosanitary certificate, and if they don't offer it, ask them if you can pay to get it. Always use PayPal. There are situations in which sometimes the guarantee is a little bit vague. It's better to just have PayPal to fall back on if that does happen to you. You also need to be prepared to spend the time. I don't know if you can tell, but the lighting has changed quite a bit from when I started this video. It has been several hours of unpackaging carefully, inspecting roots, cutting off what you're able to identify as harmful, and separating anything that might be diseased, having a quarantine space for that plant if something does come into your home and it looks like it could have something that you don't recognize. Have a space where your plants can acclimate, which in my opinion would have a little bit higher heat than like our normal living room temperature, so something more like 75, 78. And you don't want direct light on any plants that you've just taken out of a box. They've been in the dark. If you shine direct light on them immediately, it may shock the leaves and you'll end up with some browning. You want to keep the humidity high while it's acclimating. Finally, just please know that anybody that is importing plants for sale, when they price their plants, please understand that the work that goes into importing really is a lot.